Hello, everyone. My name is Meghla Bhardwaj, and I'm here on behalf of the Indian Sun. Today, I am so excited to be joined by Emily Shah, an Indian-American actress who is making a name for herself as an actress and dancer internationally. Hey, Emily, how are you doing today?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us. And so exciting that your new movie is coming out soon, Jungle Cry. So we're super excited to hear about that movie. I saw the trailer. It looks very interesting. So before we
Thank
talk
you.
about that movie, Emily, why don't you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit of yourself, your journey as an actress so far, and what inspired you to be an actress?
Yeah. I started dancing at the age of 2. And, ever since then, I think my family kind of saw this performance side of me that they didn't really expect. And I think that they saw how comfortable I was on stage and in front of an audience. So when they were putting me in curricular activities, they really focused on the arts. And so I grew up, playing instruments. I played the violin and I played the drums, and then I did theater as well. And I did all different types of dance. I was in ballet, tap, jazz, lyrical, modern, Bollywood dancing as well. So yeah, I just kind of grew up in that type of environment. I became a dance teacher. I love performing in every aspect of the arts. So it was something that I always knew I wanted to do. And yeah, I went to college, and my dad is Indian. So of course he was like, you're not studying acting in college. You're going to get a proper degree. So I ended up studying entertainment media management, and I took acting classes at Lee Strasberg and New York Film Academy. And in India, I even studied at Madhumati Academy in Juhu Beach in Mumbai. So yeah, I've taken several classes all over the world and kind of, really dove into the arts and entertainment.
Wow, that's exciting. So, is Jungle Cry your first movie, or have you acted in other movies previously?
I did a tinier independent feature film when I was in college called Fortune Defies Death. It's kind of like a whodunit mystery murder type of film. So that was the only one that I had acted in. And then before that, I had done a lot of production work, and I was a personal assistant to a stunt director. And I worked on the Fast and Furious franchise and Marvel franchise. And then I worked on the director's team for Clint Eastwood's Jersey Boys.
Okay, cool. So now you grew up in New Jersey, right? In a very multicultural kind of background you have. So there are, increasingly more multicultural roles, but still they're very hard to
Yeah.
find in mainstream film and television, right? So why do you think that is? And, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I have this struggle all the time, whether, I'm auditioning or whether I'm on the production side and I see it. I think that we are making progress for sure, but I do still see cast that is mostly Caucasian, and then they will throw in a token person, and then that'll be it. They won't try to make an effort to, you know, diversify the cast. So I know that, in Hollywood specifically, that the African American community has really paved the way, and they had so many difficulties coming up and trying to make a voice for themselves in entertainment. And I think that people like Tyler Perry and Viola Davis and a bunch of other very iconic African American entertainers have made that movement for the African American industry. And as for the Desi community and the Indian community, we have people like Mindy Kaling and Priyanka Chopra that are starting to pave the way. But I have noticed, and this is my own experience, that when they are casting for Indian characters, they tend to go for a very specific look in Hollywood. And it's like, if you don't look like that type of Indian, then they're just not going to cast you. And it came to the point where, I was in an audition, I want to say 2 weeks ago. And I had stepped outside of the door and I went to look for my phone in my bag. And I was just outside of the door for a second. And I heard casting say, her acting was amazing. And then somebody else chimed in and said, yeah, but her skin is too light.
Oh,
And I just thought to myself, it's 2020. Why are we even discussing things like this? But,
yeah.
I am half white and my first name is Emily. So sometimes it does play against me. And yeah, I just think that we have to stop having these stereotypes of just keeping that token person in a cast or just having Indians look a certain way, because as you know, their Indians looks I mean, their range of skin color is so different. And, you have people from Assam that look so different than people from Goa, that look so different than people from Orissa. So, yeah, I think we just need to be a little bit more open and not use this. It's almost like reverse racism that we're seeing. So I think we are trying to make progress, but it's like one step forward, 10 steps back. And we kind of need to do a better job of not really categorizing how Indians look and how African Americans should look and how, Asians should look. So I think that's our issue right now that we're dealing with.
Okay, that makes sense. So tell us about the movie Jungle Cry. What's the storyline for this movie?
It is a true story based on rural and tribal and slum boys from India, specifically in the Kolkata and Orissa area. And they attend a school called the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, which is a school that helps underprivileged and impoverished communities receive an education, housing, clothing, food. I mean, Dr. Samantha, who runs the school, he's very well known for his charitable work, and so he's the one who started the school. He brings these boys whose family or who they themselves only make 30 rupees or less, in a day, which is like what, 50 American cents. So yeah, he brings these boys in, educates them, clothes them, like I said, and everything. And these boys were actually playing soccer in the field one day. And there's an MBE that came over from the UK. He was working at the embassy in Kolkata, came over to the school, found these boys. And like I said, they're tribal boys. So they're very athletic. They have a different type of aggression. Like they're actually very well built for rugby itself. So when Paul Walsh saw them, he was like, why are these boys playing soccer? They would be amazing rugby players. And, the coach was like, we don't know what rugby is in India. We don't even play this game. We're fine. Like with soccer, we have a local tournament coming up. It's all good. And Paul Walsh says, well, there is a international tournament called the Junior World Rugby Cup. And if these boys don't play this year, they're going to age out. So the cup is in 4 months, and I think I can train them for that because they're very athletic, and I think that they have the ability to play rugby. So they agreed to it. And obviously, in order to send them off, they need a loan and they need money and finances to do all of that. So Dr. Samantha asked the government for a private loan, and the government agrees on the basis that the school is on collateral if the boys win. If they lose, then the government will get the land. So
Wow.
there's a lot of pressure for the boys to win because they're going to lose their school if they lose. So they go over to the UK. They end up losing the first match. They can only afford to lose one match. So at that point, everyone's like, well, we've lost our school. We've lost everything. And by some miracle, they end up continuously winning every single match after that. And they end up winning the World Cup.
Wow.
And that was the first time in history that India has ever won a World Cup, obviously, in rugby. And now there's a massive community of rugby in India, and especially in that Kolkata area. So yeah, it's growing, and it helps kids stay off the street, and instead of they pick up a ball, which is amazing. And it's just eradicating, education and sports in impoverished land.
Wow, that sounds like a very inspiring storyline. So did you go to, the school, and did you meet with the children yourself?
Yeah, I went to the school. It's amazing to see because they learn all these different crafts, and they learn how to, stitch their clothes and how to cook and how to fish and farm and stuff like that. Because Dr. Samantha knows, like, not everyone is going to receive an education and work an office job. Like, some of these kids are going to go back to their villages and they're going to need to learn how to do a trade. So why not teach these kids, how to make, like pottery, or how to sew and design clothes, or how to farm and fish. So I think what he's doing is so brilliant, and he's teaching these kids not only, how to, obviously, in education, but he's also teaching them real life skills, which I think is very important, especially in, when they have opportunities to really thrive in their community in that essence.
Right. So you, of course, play a role in the film, and then you're also the executive producer of the film. So which role did you find more challenging?
The executive producer, for sure, because by nature I'm a very creative person, and I love the arts. Acting is my passion first and foremost, but in order to act, you have to get into your role, you have to focus, and every actor has different ways of really diving into the scene. And some use method acting, and everyone has their way. So in order for me to get into a scene, I obviously had my ways of doing it, but then we'd get on set and it would be pouring down rain, and then the field would become, it would overflow, and then we'd have to change location. So I literally had to put the creative hat on and get ready for a scene. And then when we'd have all these complications, I would have to help the producer and put on my producer hat and kind of figure out the logistics. And balancing that was quite difficult. But it was one of those things. It's like you sink or you swim, and I chose to swim in it. But yeah, producing it's tough. It's not an easy job, especially when you're doing an independent film.
Yeah. So your role in the film was actually not in the original script, right? And then once you read the script,
Correct.
you decided to add that role. Can you tell us a little bit about how that happened?
Yeah, so when we received the script, I noticed that there was not one female character. And I was like, we're not producing a film that doesn't have a female character, not in today's day and age. So we decided to write the role in. And it's funny because, the crew was from India and the creative team was from India, and they do have that essence of Bollywood. So immediately they were like, well, Abhay Deol, who plays the coach, he needs a love interest. And I was like, no, you guys, that's going to take her power away. We can't have the woman just be a love interest. Like, you're just throwing in a heroine to just be, the lead actress and the love interest of the hero. And that's not her purpose. We need to have a woman who has real purpose in this script. And so obviously every team has a physio. And what better way than to make a woman so powerful that she plays the doctor role of the team, A, and B, she's like the host of the team. So whenever, when the boys come over, she receives them and she puts them up and she helps them. She kind of like navigates their time through England, and she even helps the coach the team for the games. So we decided to not have her as a love interest and just have her as an assistant to the coach and as well as the doctor, and more of like a sisterly figure to the brothers or to the boys. And so I thought that gave a female character a lot of power, and I was so happy with how we developed her essence.
So which Bollywood actor or actress would you be most excited to work with?
There are so many talented actors, and I know that like this new generation that's coming up, there are brilliant actors, but I'm always going to be a fan of like the old generation that I grew up with. So Aishwarya Rai is one of my favorites. I just love her so much. Between her and Rani Mukherjee, like their acting is so beautiful, and they're so classic. They're the classic Bollywood Indian women that's acting was just beyond, like, out of this world. So I would love to do something with them. And as for actors, I mean, I would love to work with Mr. Bachchan one. When you get to that age and you still want to work and you're still doing what you love, I think that says a lot about somebody, and I would just love to be around him.
Awesome. So what would you do if you couldn't act?
I think I have a massive fascination for criminology and the FBI and psychology. So I would either be a psychologist or go into like criminal psychology and work alongside the FBI.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I know it's like so far off than acting, but yeah.
Okay, you know what? The people of Australia, and especially all of the Indians, are really looking forward to this film a lot, especially because of your role in it. So do you want to say anything to all of our audiences in Australia?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of footy fans in Australia, that I know. So, I don't think you have to be a sports fan to watch this film. I don't think you have to be Indian or, British, or I don't think you really have to have a direct connection to this film. This film is made for an entire family to watch, and I think that's another really special thing about this film. It connects to people of all ages, and it can definitely send a message to anybody of any race, background, age, color. I mean, you name it. I just think that this story has such an inspiring message that it can really relate to, people from across the world. So I hope you guys enjoyed in Australia, and let me know what you think of the film. And I know, rugby is pretty big there. So let me know if any of you rugby players also watched it.
Are you planning to come down to Australia?
I hope so. I really like Australia. I would love to come. It's a beautiful country. I just, if coronavirus will just chill out for a second, I'd love to come and travel down there. So hoping we have a screening or a premiere there. Yeah, I'd love to be there.
Awesome. So the movie is going to be released on April 17th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What? Awesome. Well, Emily, thank you so much for your time. And we're really looking forward to watching Jungle Cry, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.